video 2 of our savoury thyme biscuits. So guys, we just popped this into the fridge about 15 minutes ago. It's had time to rest. Thyme as in T-I-M-E, not the T-H-Y-M-E that we've actually put into the biscuits. So we're going to take some flour. So you just need to take just a little handful of flour. This is just to put over the bench. And I'll just pop that little pile there. And this just so your biscuits don't stick to the bench. Okay, so you take our dough and we just push it down. It will be quite cold because it's been in the fridge for 15 minutes. And we need to get a rolling pin. In this case I have a nice marble rolling pin and we need to roll our biscuits out nice and flat. So just be careful, it will stick to the rolling pin occasionally. So what you want to do is just get some flour in your hands and just give your rolling pin a bit of a rub all over, and then with your mixture just round the edges, just try and bring it all in together to get it to actually bind rather than have bits that are frayed out round the edges. So as we are turning it, rolling our mixture, we want to be able to turn it around as well and roll it some more. And you can see that's just kind of sticking just round the edges of the rolling pin. You can also take some of your flour, pop it onto your biscuit mixture, and then you see the rolling pin will not stick. Now we want to try and get this as thin as possible. These biscuits, actually the picture you've got in your recipe shows these biscuits to be very thin. So as long as they're cooked at the end, it doesn't matter if they're a little bit thicker than the actual picture, but it's good to get them nice and thin. And because I've had to do this today to show everybody how to make savoury thyme biscuits, I've decided to have these for lunch. And I'm going to serve these with some pumpkin soup. So hopefully I'm going to have a nice, enjoyable lunch today. So it's just sticking a bit more. You can actually turn your mixture around and pick it up if it's not too sticky. And again, I'm just bringing in the corners there and rolling it out. Now once you've rolled it out to as thin as you possibly can make it, I'm not going to make it any thinner than that because I actually like them with a little bit of thickness on the biscuit. So I'm going to take my tray and the cutters. You can see I've got different size cutters. These ones were cut for me by Mrs. Hurley Went in her 3D printing class, which was very kind of her. I needed some heart-shaped cutters and we didn't have any at school. So I'm going to make just a couple of heart shapes and pop them onto my tray. I'm going to do a couple of the heart shapes just to test those. Now the ones that I want for lunch, I'm going to want quite big ones. So I'm going to make these quite decent sized, and in the interests of time as well for in our class, I just make them as big as possible. You can choose what size you want to make. You can put them quite close together on the tray because they shouldn't expand any wider when they're baking. As you know, when some things are baked, they do. So, and use as much of your pastries as possible. So anything that's left, you can again bring it together, give it a bit of a knead with warm hands. Warm hands will bring it together just that little bit quicker than cold hands. So knead it all together. A bit more flour on the bench. Stop it sticking, and you can see if it's not coming together, just push it in, a bit like Play-Doh. It's really easy to manipulate. And then get your rolling pin and give it a good roll. Whoops, sticking a little bit there. Trying to bring that all together. It will be a lot tougher than the first time you rolled it out, because each time you roll the mixture, the gluten actually gets tougher and tougher within the actual recipe. I think I've got enough there to just pop. Oops. There are 2 more biscuits on there. And again, I'm not going to waste it, so I'll probably just use my smaller cutter. Get a few more heart shapes out. Oops, do it that way. And we use as much of the mixture as is possible. We don't want to waste. We want to have as little waste as possible. So there's my biscuits on the tray. Now they're not finished yet. Finished with that bit. Again, straight into my dishwashing water. The rolling pin shouldn't need to be submerged into dishwashing, especially if it's a wooden rolling pin. But get your cloth. This one's a marble one. It's quite heavy. Just give it a wipe and pop it back on its stand if you've got one. Okay, and you want to make sure your washing or your cleaning up is completed. So just make sure that you wipe your benches down before you do anything else. And this today's series is going to be 3 videos, or rather, I hope not. I might be able to pause this one. I actually made a mistake of stopping the recording before, that's why we've got 2 videos. Hopefully this time I'll remember to pause it. Now we're not finished with our biscuits there. We need to have a bowl. In this case I've got a ceramic bowl, and we need an egg as well. I don't think the actual recipe says an egg. I'll check when I get back to the bench. Okay. And no, it doesn't. So you can actually do this with just some milk, but it's actually what's called egg wash. So we need to create a little bit of egg wash on the pastry brush. And of course we'll only need 1 egg and a little bit of milk to make this egg wash per class. But while you're at home, you're going to have to use an egg. Again, you can just use milk. Okay, so I'm just mixing up. That's enough of that. I'll take my pastry brush and just take off the excess, and then brush your biscuits. They should have a nice shiny look about them once you've finished brushing them. You can see I'm not dipping it in the egg all the time. It's really just like glazing over the actual biscuits. Now the last thing we do to finish these off is we put on some sea salt flakes. I don't actually have sea salt flakes, but I have some Himalayan rock salt. Okay, so my Himalayan rock salt has the same taste as the sea salt, but it doesn't look flaky like the sea salt does. So you just pop those onto there. And I've noticed I use the word pop a lot during making these videos, so hopefully I'm going to get out of the habit of using the word pop. Put these in the oven. They go into the oven for 10 to 12 minutes. Mine are a bit thicker, as you can see, and they may take a little bit longer. So you can always make sure you put your timer on your phone, on your watch if you've got a timer on your watch, or even use a timer on the oven if you have a timer on your oven at home. We don't at school, so you will have to use your phone to time them. 10 to 12 minutes, check them after about 9 minutes and judge whether you need more time. I'll pause this video and show you the finished product afterwards. Okay, pause this video for the amount of time it took to cook the biscuits. The biscuits are ready. During that time, I did all my washing up and cleaned up. Please guys, make sure you clean your parents' kitchen. I'm not going to be responsible for parents when they call me up and say you've left the kitchens all dirty. So make sure you clean up after yourselves, very important. Now the biscuits are ready, so please make sure you use oven gloves to take them out the oven. Okay, oven's going to be very hot, and also make sure you switch the oven off when you're finished. So I'm just going to take out my biscuits from the side. You can see that they're nice and golden. Okay, I'm taking one glove off to switch off my oven. Okay, and I've got my cooling rack ready to take those biscuits off. Now you might need to use tongs. I've got quite hardened hands, so I can actually pick these up with my hands and just pop them on like that. But I'd really like you to use tongs, please. Oh, there's my nice little heart-shaped biscuits. And you can see that I've got some pumpkin soup there. So I'm going to have these actually for lunch. And these Savoury Thyme Biscuits for lunch with some pumpkin soup. Now your tray is still very hot, so be careful, but you can just throw away the paper. I'm going to put that away into the water anyway because it does need a wash. Otherwise you can just put it somewhere where it's not going to be touched by anybody's hands, because remember it will take a while to cool down. So put the paper into the bin. Here's my pumpkin soup. When you do anything in the kitchen, can you please make sure that you garnish it before you serve it? So in this case, I'm having some pumpkin soup, and I'm just going to put some, whoa, look at that, cream round like that. Okay, so there's my pumpkin soup. I'm going to put a bit of parsley in the middle to decorate it. I'm going to choose the biscuits that I like, and I like the nice puffy up ones. So probably about 3 biscuits per serving for your soup. And I did have somewhere I put a sprinkle of thyme to actually garnish that. Looks like I've misplaced it somewhere. That's okay, I can take another piece and just pop it on the top of the biscuit. So there you go, guys. That's your Savoury Thyme Biscuits. Remember, clean up after yourself as soon as your biscuits are cool enough into your container to take home if you're doing it at school, and if you're at home, make sure you clean up. I hope you enjoy making Savoury Thyme Biscuits. I'm going to enjoy looking at your videos of you doing the same thing, and I'll check them on Google Classroom. Bye for now.